This review is made possible by YouTube. Help!
Your fans will go nuts when they see that. Let's post it on YouTube.
There must be another way. When she's gone to a better place.
DiRT 2 was a lot different if you compare it to the first one, and everyone hated it. I think. Nah, it was still a smash hit. When you have a bunch of recognizable names from motorsport and extreme sports scene, it was bound to happen. Also helped that it was pretty fucking good, improved driving physics that actually feel great, an interesting line of cars, even if lacking in a few parts, and a banging soundtrack that's the best of the series so far. Yeah, I didn't like the old games, but again, fuck you purists. DiRT 2, like the first one, was a Rally Sports challenge kept getting sequels, and they wouldn't have it any other way. Other than another follow-up, give me more! And the Cody's delivered. DiRT 3 got announced for the summer of 2010, not at E3, not at Gamescom, but at the fucking X Games in Los Angeles. Yeah, keep that licensing deal coming. It's no surprise when I said that the approach for this game is different from the last, mostly to address criticism from all fans like, there's not enough rattling, it is too American for me liking. What the hell was that? It was a Scottish accent. Nah, they're gonna kill it because of that. So yeah, it's gonna have more focus on rally cars of old and new, as well as trying to tone down the festival stuff from the last game. Also, Gymkhana will be here too, so that's gonna be fun. DiRT 3, or just DiRT 3 in the States, got a May 2011 release. Now it's just for the 360, PS3, and PC, so we're back to square one. I'll be playing the PC version, which I actually got on Steam for free during a promo many years ago. And it's also the complete edition, which has all the DLC packs and stuff from the VIP pass. Ugh, remember online passes? On top of an Xbox Live Gold membership? Come on! Oh god, sponsored by AMD? Their processor or graphics department. Much like the last game, if you want to see the opening movie, you just wait in the title screen for a bit, and it's replay for a shit to a remix of Demons by South Central. I swear, I tried to find a song on YouTube, but all I got is a riff from the game. Drat. Here's the title screen without someone saying the name of the game? Something's not right. Let's start a new game, type my name, put my nationality, and holy shit, there's Pinkie in the audio name list. Though I assume it's more of a reference to Pinkie in the brain. Fucking rat. So you're introduced to 3 characters, DJ BBQ Christian Stevenson, and these 2. No joke, I thought I got the wrong guy when I was researching him, but no! Now he just does cooking related stuff. But this is DiRT 3, not Cooking Mama Free Chop and Shop or whatever. Here, he's my PR manager and a tutorial guy like the rest. Let's start yet another journey in this retrospective. Career mode is a lot different. Unlike in the first 2 DiRTs, you don't get to spend money, but you do get team offers for each race. More get added as you level up, which is done by earning rep points. The main objective of this mode is to reach the CC Super Series in the 4th and final season, and to do that is to get enough points in a regular triangle to unlock the central one. Finish that, and you move on to the next season pyramid. You might suspect this to be a lot shorter, where you're racing 4 seasons this time. It kind of is, but don't worry. As you progress by winning enough certain events, you unlock the world tours of each discipline. But instead of one event, it's multiples of them, which is great, more rallying for me. It's actually much simpler than the last game. It's similar to the first DiRT, and I actually love it if I'm honest. While I like DiRT 2's career mode, it felt a bit bloated to me, with the game throwing me a bunch of throwdowns even after doing a repeat event. It's quite exhaustive really. So let's start with a rally event. Hey, at least I can choose my first event this time. Let's get this out of the way. It only has this cockpit view and I hate it. There's no visual pace notes, so you have to rely on the map or not. And there's still the slow finishes. Anyways, the game got a bit of flack by fans for its visual look. You already noticed it in the menu. But as someone who hates the piss filter in general, mostly, I disagree. While it has a bit of a green filter, it doesn't make me gouge my eyes out. Compared to the first DiRT, it's still an improvement. There's a bit of bloom, but like the last game, it's not very in your face at least. It's only when you drive a white car or the weather is overcast that it becomes glaring. Now sure, you can make the game look more colorful by modding it, which took me a bit more than I thought. I had to use Reshape for it. DiRT 2 was as simple as drag and dropping, but if I'm honest, the default visuals look as colorful as I like, so I'm stuck with it. Plus, removing the post-processing, a step that is done by deleting the fx.xml file, also removes the white and black fades, which really took me away from it. I don't know, do I sound weird when I prefer the original look? At least the rest of it looks great. Great cars, great scenery, great replay shots. Nothing more that I haven't said in my DiRT 2 video. For the menus, it's downplay from the last game. It's now very similar to the grid, still having the 3D text. It's just the items are now lined up instead of having to move the camera when selecting things. DiRT 2's menu system is my favorite of the trilogy, but I can understand that it can be a pleasant experience at times, so a simpler menu is here, and I still love it anyway. It has pyramids, lots of them. Something I forgot to mention in my last video. No, the one before this, is that you can actually move the camera with the right stick and zoom in and out with the triggers. You can do the former in the Hardy Grid and the first DiRT, and you can do the same here. It's the little things that I like. Sound design is just the same as DiRT 2, which is pretty great. Though I have this problem in my end where I can hear random bits and bobs that shouldn't be here. They're a bit subtle, but if you can hear them, you know what I mean. As for voice acting, I'm glad I don't have to hear opponents complaining at me for hitting them. Downside, where's Pastrana? Yeah, it seems the cast has been reduced to 4. Christian, Ellie, Jack, and Ken Block.
Come on, Christian, you're making me blush.
Just telling you how it is, my amigo.
Pastrana was gonna be here as well, but aside from his Subaru, he got cut completely. Shame. Now I'm stuck with these 3 for the most of the game, and I don't like it. I don't know exactly why, but their banter just doesn't do it for me. Kinda sounds like a Joss Whedon quip fest at times.
Every podium is another step closer to the final.
Did you read that on a fortune cookie or something?
I've got to say, this is getting really exciting.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, the first 2 seasons weren't entertaining enough, my ladies. Oh.
Yes, brilliant! We're getting so close to the Super Series.
All right, calm down, Ellie. If you're any more excited, you could power my MP3 player.
Great work. You've become really good at Gymkhana.
Really good is what you say at a little girl's dance recital. You were freaking great.
And then there's Christian.
Awesome race. You should upload the highlights onto YouTube for your fans to watch.
So it begins. Yeah, this game has a feature where you upload your replay to YouTube, which is pretty neat and all, but in the age of capture cards and OBS, it seems unnecessary. Especially now when even a new potato can run the game fine at 60 FPS on medium settings. I sure hope I don't get any decoding overloading this. It's too bad Christian likes to remind you about it at times, especially every time you win a career race the first time in a session, and it can be annoying.
That was awesome. You gotta show that to the world. Put it on YouTube. Your fans will go nuts when they see that. Let's post it on YouTube. Don't forget you can upload that race footage to YouTube if you think it's good enough. Yo, amigo, post that footage on YouTube. It rocks.
Yes, thanks. Could you please shut up and make me a sandwich? Please don't take this out of context. Compared to the previous game, this is worse. At least my opponents there shower me with praise after winning without quipping. The co-driver guy is the same Scott as before, but the lady driver has been replaced by Jen Horsey from Dirtfish. And she sounds better at least, more or less compared to the one in DiRT 2.
150. Keep left into right 3 long, tightens late. Left 4 into right 6.
As for music, it's pretty great. Not as good as DiRT 2, but there's some hits I like. Oh, come on! I also recognize more songs from other games than the last one. Not only that, but there's also some unexpected tracks like rap and hip-hop songs such as Fort Knox 5 Insight and Run DMC's Peter Piper and the Gap Band? Oh look, there's Outer Bridge. You can tell I'm a pro wrestling fan because I only know 2 of their songs very well. Isolation is great though. There's also Fona's Ghetto Burning, the original, and the Matthias remix. Weird choice when it's about, you know, destroying communities. The first words are about burning children for fuck's sake. But hey, if it sounds boppy, then it's in a playlist, I guess. Again, you don't hear them doing races, but overall, it's a nice soundtrack, so I'd give it a passing grade. So the physics and handling are very similar to the last game. Rally cars are so nice and controlled, while the Land Rush cars like to be bounced and not difficult to keep them straight as a result. Not too hardcore, but not too arcadey either, and it feels great to drive on any surface. It's really hard to compare the two when they're nearly identical, if not entirely. I should have also mentioned this in my last DiRT video, but I despise how they kept changing the default button for handbrake. I'm using the 360 control as an example, but it can be applied to any other X input gamepad. In DiRT 1, the handbrake is set to B, like most racing games, but in DiRT 2, it's changed to A, much like the Forza games. But now it's back to B here, and now I have to keep relearning how to drive because of that. Ugh. At least I can remount the buttons, but please be more consistent. There's still mechanical and terminal damage, which you can disable in the pre-race menu. Forgot you could also do that in the last game. Why did I make that mistake? Oh yeah, before a race, there's this menu where you can adjust not just your car settings, but also advanced difficulty settings, the only way to do so after setting up a new profile, and check the standings as well, without looking at the loading screen. Now they just show the car you're using. Where's the stats? I couldn't even get to see them in the last game because my hard drive loaded the contest too fast. Flashbacks are here too, except you get extra rep if you don't use them all, much like in Hardy Grid, and pressing the button will instantly put you to instant replay instead of waiting. Now it's perfect. If only I could repair my car between stages by myself again. Ugh, that hits me too close to home. That's how I lost my Evo X. Wait, you never told me you had a rally career. I didn't want to after the crash. I was second in class when it happened, and I got so angry that I'm taking a break from it. I don't even know if I want to do it again. Much like DiRT 2, there's 6 AI difficulty settings, this time marked by numbers. However, it doesn't reduce the number of rewinds you can use, so you're stuck with 5 of them. For half the career, I was playing at 4, the upper middle point, the equivalent of Savage. And even then, I still win too easily. I get a big gap ahead of the rally, so I opted to 5 in the Rally World Tours, and yeah, it was challenging. Mostly got first place finishes by milliseconds, and sometimes finished second. You know what? This is good for me. Land Rush races are more challenging alongside Rallycross, but the Trailblazer is somewhat too easy for me, even despite a few points where I didn't win a stage. I might just go with 6, but I don't have the guts to do it. For race types, you still have your staples: Rallying, Rallycross, Trailblazer, and Land Rush. Rally and Trailblazer are basically the same as DiRT 2, right down to seeing opponents racing and maybe retiring in real time. Except this time, they're back to regular time-based ranking, so that means the driver with the shortest overall time wins once again. Thank fuck. Rallycross is completely the same, but unfortunately the alternate game modes didn't make the transition. God damn it, I actually like them. Except Team Racing, that can fuck right off. Land Rush is still here, which is actually a misnomer now because the races don't all start from side to side. What is this? Unfortunately, it can only be raced with buggies against buggies or trucks against trucks. You can have a mixed race in single events, but that's about it. Career mode, they're all segregated. There has to be a better word than that. Plus, only one buggy and one truck. Come on, where's the variety here? It's still fun, but the worst part is that there's only 2 locations for it. But this game has 2 additional race types, starting with the return of crossover races. Fuck, I missed them so much. As expected, they're head-to-head races in 2 different laps, and much like in DiRT 1, its events are tournament-based, so you have to do the same track a few times, but with changing weather conditions. I'll get to that, but I'm so glad it's back. Only to get left behind again until, I don't know, that EA Sports WRC game. Does that thing have super special stages? And new to the series is Gymkhana, more of a stunt showcase than precision driving. It's where you get to do tricks in designated areas such as donuts, spins, jumps, drifts, what have you, and you must score the most points in the competition. It's simple to understand, but sorta hard to master. Thankfully, this game's physics account to it, and you can fill this triangle without much downtime to get multipliers up to 3 times. Plus, the first season's central triangle is a whole tutorial on how to do each of the stunts, taught by Kenny Boy himself.
Yeah, we've got big and small donuts here. They may look different, but they all work the same way. You just need to pull off a smooth, sideways drift around the central object. To get started, drive up like you're going past the trick, then get your car sideways by turning in hard and using the handbrake. Next, balance the throttle and the steering to keep your nose as close to the center as possible while you spin.
Remember, you can only score points off the marked Gymkhana donuts. They look pretty tricky, but I got faith. Better get to it.
I fucking love this. This is just my all-time favorite, closely ahead of rallying. But if that's not enough, there's also challenges you get to do, one per triangle, sponsored by DC Shoes. They could be about Gymkhana related stuff like smashing into cardboard cutouts, speedrunning a path like regular old Gymkhana, or follow a straight course of Embarrassy, or drift challenges where you do a small course forwards and backwards to get enough points. Much like the licenses in Gran Turismo, the better you do, the better medals you get, and the more rep you earn. I quite enjoy them even if they can get a little try and error based, especially the Gymkhana attack ones, where you do the required stunts in any order you like. I have a problem with the drift challenges in that I cannot earn points while drifting around the pole to signal that you have to go back, and that bums me out, but other than that, it's pretty alright. I just suck at drifting, that's all. The base game has a total of 9 locations to drive on, which is the same amount as the last one. That includes the Battersea plant, which has been repurposed as a Gymkhana training ground. After DiRT moved away from that, it's never been the same anymore. It's a fun place to drive around, featuring jumps, climbing, and secret D3 logos to find in free roam. After finishing the first season, the compound gets unlocked, and more areas are open as you progress. You get to do some quests for mostly bragging rights. For some reason, none of this comes to 100% completion, but still, I do have more issues, like how sometimes doing missions don't register a check, and a few ones can be a bit cryptic, like the drift on the corner between the depot and the power station one. I was like, what corner? There's like different entrances to the station, which one? It's not until I watched the video to see which exactly. And this upside down pipe thing, you actually have to do one fluid motion from entry to exit for it to register. It has to be specific, unlike what the mission tells me. And don't get me started on the barrel thing. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant aileron roll. Shut up, nerd. Still pretty neat. Now let's get to the real meat. First up is Finland. Man, I might offend some Finns if I try pronouncing these names. A fast rally I suspected, but even then, it's still enjoyable to drive them. I like the next 3 places, it has trailblazer stages, and they're pretty great too. I like the part with the spiral at the end of this bridge. Then there's Kenya. Unfortunately, the only times you ever go straight ahead quick is in the trailblazer stages, but still, really fun place to drive, featuring gates and elephant grids to go through, and the switchback area to drift around, really sweet. Finally, rallying has come back to the States with Michigan. When he didn't say it like The Rock, it just sounds weird. Somewhat based on a Lake Superior performance rally, a nightmare I kept coming back to, it's a great place to rally on. There's a little town and a coal mine I get to drive under, or whatever the hell that's supposed to be. Look, it's set at autumn and I fucking love it. Next is Norway. What's this? Snow? In the DiRT game? Holy shit, we are so back, fellas! Weird that both winter locations take place in and around ski resorts, but not my problem. It has some sweeping places, fast sections, and just a beautiful look during the morning. The trailblazer tracks are fun as well. What's special about these rally places is that instead of being a long route and 2 halves of it like in DiRT 2, this takes a similar approach to expand rally by making an area with multiple routes to create stages on, which is what I much prefer. Makes these stages more unique really. However, the trailblazer ones are just one big route, its reverse variant, and a chuck vent, so it's similar to DiRT 2, but still. Moving on to non-special stage locations, we go to Smelter. It's set in Michigan, but it counts as a separate location, so there's that. Somehow, the rallycross tracks are more fun than the land rush ones, but how could that be? There's big jumps here! Well, as much as I don't like the Ensenada land rush courses, I still prefer that over Smelter. I just find this boring. Everything else is just much better. Look, the crossover race starts with 2 cars literally face to face. That's sweet. Aspen. Brought to you by the X Games, the only other snow location where these tracks take place in a buttermilk ski resort, that's the name. The place is more interesting than Norway, that means a lot of ups and downs, more so in land wash and crossover races, and I love it. The fucking thing is a gut jump. Next is Monaco, the city. It is entirely tarmac based, which would have spelled disaster for me if it were Dirt 1 before it, but like I said, I really like the asphalt driving, and this is right up my alley. Though I don't like this particular crossover track where if I start on the right side, I get way behind no matter how, making the lead at the halfway point bonus objective almost impossible. I'll talk about them later, but still, great rallycross tracks and great gymkhana playgrounds, it's great! And then we have Los Angeles again, this time in and around the Memorial Coliseum, the real deal, not some bullshit stadium the Cody's made up. Funny thing about the Coliseum, I always envisioned it as being on the mountains like the Olympic Stadium in Barcelona, but it's actually smack dab in the middle of the city like Disneyland in Anaheim. God, I'm disappointed, but at least it isn't surrounded by a lot of parking space, Jesus! There isn't any crossover races here sadly, but there's still rallycross and gymkhana, so not all is lost. The long RX track is basically a rehash of the LA tracks from the last game. You even enter through the arch. All that's missing is this big jump. Thankfully, the other track is a short affair around Exposition Park, and the gymkhana places are great too, 3 inside and 1 outside. Much like Monaco, it's really good as well. The DLC adds 2 more locations, for an obligatory Spinal Tap reference here. Hello, Cleveland! There's Shibuya, the only returning one from Dirt 2, now with a cloudy look, an additional short layout, and a bridge under the crossover jump. Boring, that Aspen crossover didn't need that shit, so why start now? And then there's Monte Carlo, as in the Frenchman is known for that. That is so unexpected to see in a dirty game. The other time in that Monaco was in the first CMR in 1998. Though considering the rally wasn't on the WRC calendar at the time of its release, it makes sense to show up here. Unlike the Dirt Rally iteration, it's actually fun to drive with slightly woody roads and nasty paths that don't make me destroy my controller. Fun drifting on the switchbacks. Well, trying to. But the thing that I like the most about these tracks is that most of them aren't stuck in one time of day or weather condition. Yes, they now have multiples and you can change them in quick races too, which means finally, night rallying is back in the series. Fuck, what took them so long? That shit was missing since the first Dirt, and yet I'm glad it returned. As for cars, there's more Fords here. Since Epilogue moved to the Blue Oval in Rally America, the Coolies decided to follow suit and added a bunch of Fords here, and after the last 2 games since they really needed it. There's the Fiestas, the Focus RSs, the Cozy, and the Mustang even. Wish they had the LTL 9000 though. I'm sorry, but I still miss the semi-trucks! Anyways, because of the game having a bit more emphasis on rally again, it now has a lot of classic cars, from the Minis and Alpines to the return of Group P, now with a Quattro and a Manta, if that counts, to the WRC level ones, as in the Citroen C4 and 2 of those Fords? How the hell did they manage to get them while Milestone still had rights to the WRC? Oh, and the Countryman's here too. While it's nothing out of the ordinary, I still really like the lineup here. Now the Impreza can race alongside the Delta and the Celica.
The Toyota Celica GT4 ST205 was the final rendition of the highly successful series of Celicas that competed in Group A rallying in the 90s. With its aerodynamic shape and advanced suspension, it won many rallies and a Constructors' Championship.
I don't like how they left out the fact they got disqualified entirely in 95 for toggleable restrictors. Really wish the old Impreza had those night lights instead of these generic ones. While the raid SUVs are here, they are unfortunately only relegated to rally events, and even they're rare in career mode. Only 2 that require them in its entirety, fucking hell. We move to the Trailblazers, which has the only Hyundai in the game. Yes, I pronounce it that way, and not Hyundai. It's Korean, it shouldn't be butchered like that. Tension aside, they all got our back, except for the Scudo, but it does have the SX4, as well as a mix of muscle cars, proper unlimited hill climbers, and that Z4 again. Rallycross cars, old and new, are the usual fare, powerful rally cars with covered lights, and rectangles for brake lights. Except for the Impreza hatchback, which for some reason has proper head and tail lights. What's his deal? I'm no game dev, but weren't they allowed to reuse the Dirt 2 car? Gymkhana cars are interesting, sure, there's the Fiesta, the Lancer, and the Imprezas, but there's also a Saturn Sky and a Scion TC. They couldn't be in rallying, but at least they're here. Oh, and the old Mini is here too. Landwash is the most disappointing, only 2 different vehicles and both are unlicensed, though reused from previous games. The buggy is a Scott Schwalbe from Dirt 1 and the truck is very much a slightly modified Toyota Stadium truck from 2. That's interesting and all, but I still don't like it. Like I said, the liveries can be unlocked by leveling up. However, they aren't just for show this time. Picking a livery means picking a team, which also means you get to do bonus objectives for more rep points. Objectives like finishing a stage in less than this time, reaching a certain speed, or finishing it at that speed, finishing the stage without whirling or spinning, or rewinding. I guess that text box was too big to add the third thing. Drifting or jumping at a total distance, or even finishing it without damaging my car. What the fuck kind of game do you think I'm playing? It's significantly easier in Rally and Trailblazer, but anything else that is next to impossible. Fucking hell. Aside from that one, some objectives are easier than others, and a few are a mixed bag, like getting the total time in a race. While it's jokingly easy in Rally and Trailblazer stages, it's actually more challenging than anywhere else. While I like this feature, I just wish they'd show the objective during your race instead of forcing myself to pause the game just to remind myself. But at least they show up whenever you complete some of them, though the lap time one is odd. It doesn't show that I did it during your race, it's weird. While I like most of them, I don't like the DC one, while this version in DiRT 2 looks... ugh. This particular one here is too minimalist to me, and believe me, I like minimalism, but when your library doesn't have any other sponsor, or even a car number, I just picked the DLC one instead. It's the opposite problem, and this is the final library you can unlock in career mode. Do better! Still, very fun to check companies I don't know jack about. What is Dalek Father? Snowboarding apparel company. Colin McRae Vision? Charity. Repsol? Spanish oil company. Hey, don't steal my thunder. What is Flip? I don't fucking know. I tried googling it, but I never found out what exactly that is, or was. At least there isn't a company with a vulgar-ass logo here. Much like the last two games, you can replace the libraries provided by the game with custom ones if you feel none of them suit you, but you can also add them. It's more time-consuming. You have to use a few programs to extract and edit a database file, then put it back into the thing, but once done, you can have custom libraries in the game without the need of replacing a single one. I left the link for the required files and a detailed tutorial in the description. It's just a shame I can't use them in career mode. I finally finished the World Tours. They were really long, man. Now to tackle the Super Series and end this game. Interestingly, the way these Ultimate events work is that they're much like the World Tours in DiRT 2. One event is composed of several rounds at different locations. I was expecting it to have Ultimate head-to-head, but the final event is just a free round affair at Monaco, nothing special. Oh guys, it's 2 laps! Ah! But other than that, there's nothing to write home about. And of course I went with this library mod for this occasion. A bit disappointed, but still, I finished the game and got the ending properly running, unlike Sophie while she was streaming.
Who knows what they'll be moving on to next? It's been a pleasure.
And don't forget about
I may not have done any of the compound stuff, but if the game tells me you have career at 100%, then it's fine by me. But just in case I completed all the compound missions, there, true 100%. Oh gods. On to other modes. Single race is basically the same as the last game. Pick a discipline and track, and there you go, race on! I like how you can have a rally stage between two contrasting categories like Group A versus S2000. Sadly, time trial is more limited now, more like the one in DiRT 1, so no trailblazers in a land rush track. Boring. I'm sure you're expecting me to do the same song and dance when it comes to multiplayer, but no! There's actual split screen here! Oh my god, I better tell Sophie about... Sophie?
Nice to meet you again, Sophie.
The original PC version had games for Windows Live as the online middleman, but thankfully the complete edition on Steam, which is actually separate from the base game apparently, uses Steamworks for it, which means I get to play it! Shame not many people play it these days, and it doesn't help that it got delisted years ago, but I'm actually getting to a few rounds there. While it's mostly the same as single player, there are a few unique ones I better see, like Capture the Flag and Outbreak, where you must not get infected. Oh good, now you have to infect others. It's a pretty popular game mode and I can see why. As for anything else, I like that you can either have boring stagger starts where you just wait to get staged, or have a Trackmania style ghost race, that's more like it. The online multiplayer apparently has its own leveling system determined by fans. The more fans you get, the faster you level up, of course. You can even unlock a few goodies on the way. It also shares with your career progression determined by your fanbase rating. Shame I kept at 30. I planned a session for this video, and while it was boring waiting so long for anyone to show up, we eventually had fun. Some players joined the jam for a bit and leave, and one was acting like a prick, calling anyone a cheater no matter who. But overall, it was enough to finish this review on a high note. Man, I feel bad for those who suck at Gymkhana. So that was Dirt 3. I might prefer the second one a little bit more, but there are stuff this game did better, like the focus on rally history, the icy tracks are a delight to see, Gymkhana was a fun addition, and career was much simpler, but everything else felt a bit weak. Land Rush was a disappointment, the raid downplay was just as much, and the omission of fun alternate game modes from the previous game just make this as my second best in the trilogy. I still love it, but it still could have gone better. If you want to play it, I recommend the complete edition since it has all the DLC in it. Unless it turns out you'd have the import codes for it in the console versions. I only played the PC port, so I'm not sure. Well, that wraps up this theme month. 3 great games, 3 simpler reviews compared to Undercover. God, what a video that was. I'm glad that I went minimal for this, like my first 2 reviews. It's also fun playing these, especially the second game. It's so great trying out old games I haven't managed to before, and I can't wait to see what's next for this series. What? Am I supposed to be upset about it? I honestly liked it. I really don't get the hate after playing it. I won't even call it a bad Dirt game. Hell, it doesn't even remind me to upload my replay to YouTube every time I play it again. But that's a story for another day. Next time, the other WRC free. After all these years, I never thought I would ever meet the one. How could I be so dumb? Crimson Devil, worked for the HEF, was a prick towards Lauren? How did I connect the dots sooner? And is Sophie gonna come back? I need to call her. Hey, Sophie? It's actually Lauren. I'm busy doing something to Sophie, which will take a few days, mostly to get used to it. Used to what? You'll know. Talk to you later. Now, I must warn you, this is the first time I donated a limb to someone, so I'm not sure about its side effects. But because you're Dullahan, I hope this will do good to you.
Don't worry, coward. It will definitely do good for her.